About 3 or 4 years ago, I sort of started to take control over my parents' health situation because they were getting older, and my dad has Parkinson's, and my mom was beginning to find it very challenging to care for him. So I basically started to pay more attention to their medical medical visits, and my husband and I started to also research what we needed to do specifically for elderly care. As part of our discovery, we learned that vaccinations for the elderly was something we needed to pay attention to. Well, I guess my mom comes from a generation where basically they wait for the doctor to tell them what to do. And vaccination is something which I guess maybe the doctors here don't really focus on. And so when I brought up the issue of vaccination, she was kind of suspicious, and said, why do we need this? If I need it, the doctor will tell me. She was quite reluctant at first, and it was only when I found the death certificate of my aunt, who passed away several years before, that we discovered that on the death cert, her cause of death was something quite ordinary, or we thought she had died of something a bit more complex. And it was then that we sort of convinced my mum that very often the elderly, when they go into hospital care, often die not because of what they came in for, but something which develops during the stay. And in this case, it was something which was very much preventable, and it didn't happen for my aunt. So I kind of persuaded my mum with that information that she should allow us to bring her to be vaccinated. Because of my father's medical condition, he gets hospitalized off and on. So one of the things my husband and I were very aware of was how I guess hospitalization itself can lead to complications during your stay. So one of the things which we are very grateful for because of the vaccination is that we never have to really worry that it'll develop into influenza, which might make his recovery a lot more challenging. So we've made it a point to basically all of us to get vaccinated every year. And we're very lucky, I think, that so far it has been very, we've avoided falling sick because of influenza. I always thought that vaccinations were something you gave only to children. And it was only when we started to look at elderly care that we realized, actually, we ourselves actually need to be vaccinated. I didn't realize that actually influenza exists up to today. And what makes it very scary is that it always mutates. There's so many different strains, so you never know how severe you're gonna get when you do get it. So I realized that I was confusing, getting a cold with getting influenza, and I didn't realize that there was actually a difference between the two, even though symptomatically they're very similar. So it was only when I realized that I was confused that we, as a family, realized that we needed to look at vaccination. I would say don't make yourself regret. It's one thing if your loved one, dies of, something, whether it's an accident or, a life-threatening disease. But if it's something which, doesn't cost you very much in terms of money or your time, and can prevent a whole host of other challenges, particularly, when the elderly often have complicated medical developments when they get warded, then I think it's worth taking the time to do it, because it will give you a lot of peace of mind, and it's something you will never regret doing.